so I'm going to test today. In the chapter number 3, we are left with the 3 points. 3 points we have discussed earlier. For example, I will try to recapitulate that part quickly. Sex ratio. What is sex ratio? All right. The sex ratio is the difference between the male populations and female population, or a ratio between the male population and female population, right? And at the same time, we have learned about the age structure, all right? Age structure, all right? And in the age structure, we have 3 different types, okay? Or it has been categorized into a 3, or it has been structured into a 3, all right? Or population age has been grouped into 3. So that is known as age structure. And in the age structure, our next point we have discussed is the population pyramid. If the situations of a population, if the knowledge about the population or the study about the population is represented on the graph, all right, and then that is known as the population pyramid. Or what is population pyramid? Population pyramid is a graphical representation of age and sex of a population. So that is known as, or age composition, all right? So that is known as the population pyramid. And population pyramid has 3 different types. Expanding population, all right? Expanding population, in that we have learned the example of Bangladesh, all right? And in the constant population pyramid, we have learned the example of the Australia, and in the declining population pyramid, we have learned the Japan as an example. So these are the 3 different graphical pyramid, or pyramid that you find in your textbook. And please note down the diagram that has been represented in, or in the diagram which is available in your textbook. Please do that one, all right, and with the notes. Now we shall start with today's topic. Our continuations of the chapter number 3, that is population composition. As I have told you, though, this whole chapter itself is for a 1 marks question, all right? Sorry, a 6 marks question. Or for this chapter itself, they will give you a 5 marks. For example, describe the population composition. So, whole of sex ratio, age structure, the age-sex pyramid, and then the rural-urban composition, literacy, occupational structure. All these can be written in the essay form, or in 1 page. All right, it's very, very important as you are in the class 12, and you have to maintain the page 2. All right, so this is very, very important, right? That whole of the chapter may come for 5 marks question. Okay, so we shall start with today's teaching. So, in this rural-urban composition, how many people are living in the rural area? How many people are living in the urban area? Knowing about that information is very important. We require that information, all right, so that accordingly we can plan for the country. Is that okay? All right. Suppose, and at the same time, the criteria to define the rural area and urban area that has been discussed in your textbook, all right, differ, or the criteria may differ from the country to country. Some, for the 500, it may 1,000 population, it may consider as urban area, and for some country 5,000 population may consider as an urban area. So the criteria that may differ from country to country. Is that okay? But so you have to keep that in your mind, all right, when you try to define the rural area and urban area. Then in the Western countries, the male dominate in the rural area. In the Western country, for example, the agricultural activity, let's say. In the agricultural activity, most of the agricultural activities are mechanized, all right? Mechanized in the sense they will use the combine or the tractor, helicopter or the aeroplane to spray the pesticides, weedicide, insecticides, and so on. So technology, they will use a high technology, high-tech technology. Okay, so because of that, you will find in the urban area of Western country and American and Canada, or you will find in the male dominated in the rural area. Whereas in Asian countries, all right, countries, especially in India, Pakistan, and Nepal, you will find the female dominated in rural area. So you will get a completely in a contrast picture over here. And why it is so? Why it is male dominated in the urban in the Western countries, as I have told you the reason, right? And why it's a female dominated in the Asian countries, especially Pakistan, Nepal, and India, because in these countries there is a high male migrant population, and because of that, females are left in the village, and those women, all right, or a female, mainly engage in the agriculture. Is that okay? And toward the urban area, you will find a male dominated, or all those rural areas, male has been migrated to those areas, those immigrant urban area. Okay, like the Delhi, like Mumbai, New York, and any other countries, especially the Qatar. Okay, and in the Western countries, female dominated the urban area, whereas in the Asian countries, it is completely reversed. In that sense, the male dominated in the urban area, all right, and that is because of male domination in the, or male dominated in the migrations, all right, rural to urban migration, and they are different types of migration, right? Urban to urban migration, rural to rural migration. All those parts we will discuss later. And next compositions of a population is literacy. Literacy rate. How many people are educated and how many people are uneducated? Accordingly, we can plan for the education, all right, or educating the people. All right, and in India, the literacy rate has been defined as a person who's able, who's 7 years and above, can read, write, and able to do the arithmetic, the arithmetic calculation with understanding. Such kind of people are known as literate person. All right, and how many people, how many female literates are there, how many male literates are there, all right, how many literacy, what is the literacy rate of a country? All those will tell you something about the policy that has been adopted by a country. Is it clear? So knowing about that literacy rate is important, okay, and that is the main composition. All right, for example, here proportions of literate population of a country is an indicator of its socio-economic development, right? So this is a development indicator. Okay, is an indicator of socio-economic development. So proportions of a literate. If the country has a more literate population, all right, then you'll find a more refined person, more human capital, and how they will plan for in a country. If you compare with a person who is not educated, all right, who do not have that much idea, who do not have that much, they do not know about, if the person doesn't know about the modern technology, all right? And if the person do not know how to move with the time and so on, all right, how they will plan for the country, is that okay? And and then you will find all those dictators, right? So now what do you have to do, or what do you have to understand is that literacy plays an important role in the socio-economic development. All right, social development and economic development of a country, of any region, any country. Is that okay? That is the main indicators. So level of economic development is both cause and consequence of literacy. Okay, so the level of economic development, if the level of economic development is good, all right, then you will find a high literacy rate, all right. The consequence will be a high literacy rate, all right. And if the economic development is low, then there will be a low literacy rate in the country. So that the economic development become a socio-economic development became a cause and consequence of country. Is that okay? So that's very, very important. The literacy play an important role for the country. Is that okay? So higher the literacy rate, and then the higher the grade of a country will be, higher the quality of a country will be, and higher the standard of a country will be, higher the thinking of a population will be. Okay, so literacy rate is important, and because of that, every people talks about the education and education. Why people, everyone stress on the education? Because that plays an important role in the society, and not only the community, not only the nation, global as a whole. And then you will find such persona in the world today. So next one is occupational structure. All right, the occupation, the job of a world has been structured into these 5 categories. All right, and the whole population, the whole population is engaged in a different kind of activity. So, and then here there's a category. All right, the different people engage in different activities. Right. For example, the primary economic activities, all right, secondary economic activity, tertiary economic activity, quaternary economic activity, and quaternary economic activity. So people are engaged in the different occupation, all right. And if now, why we are learning about this occupational structure? If the people are engaged in more people are engaged in the primary economic activity, then what does that indicate? Or what it will tell you about that very country or that very area. And if more people are engaged in the secondary sector, tertiary sector, quaternary sector, and quaternary sector, what does it play in the socio-economic development of a country? Okay, and I'll tell you this thing in a very these terms in a very short form. Secondary economic, all right, is the conversions of raw material into finished goods. It's also known as manufacturing. Is that okay? Conversions of raw material into finished goods. For example, the flour into biscuits. Is that okay? Or wheat into flour, right? And tertiary economic activity is a service sector. Fine. The sector which provide services like a transportation, communication, telecommunication. Then next, quaternary sector, who are involved in the knowledge, research and development. Okay, and such activities are known as people who are engaged in these high knowledgeable activities. Knowledge activities are known as quaternary activities, and quaternary activity who are involved in the top job. For example, the CEO of a country, Prime Minister of a country, CEO of the office of a company. All right. So, so in whole, we can understand. We can say that populations, all right, are engaged in a different kind of activity. And so these are the different compositions of population. For example, the sex composition of a population, age structures, age sex pyramid, rural-urban composition, literacy rate, and then the occupational structures. So with this, we have finished with the chapter number 3. Thank you so much.